We are watching you.
Good now, everyone, and welcome. I had half a mind not to stream today. I have the hiccups, but that's not why. Reason why is because I stayed up too late again last night. And on top of that, I got woken up by my cat again. She's really annoying. Crappy part is if you lock her out of the room to where she can't be verbally annoying, she tears up the carpet. And we don't really want her to tear up the carpet. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm underneath my desk trying to plug something in that really apparently doesn't want power. Fix that problem. Anyway, fix that. There we go. Anyway. So, I'm a little tired. Also, I asked Seven to go get me some sugar the other day. Yeah, she's like, you need anything from the store? I said, yeah, I'm out of sugar. Well, somewhere between when I told her that, when she went to go get it, her brain switched sugar with creamer, so now I have 2 full containers of creamer and no sugar. So I have no coffee. So I'm a little bit tired and a tiny bit annoyed. In Seven's defense, however, it is not really her fault. She was in a bad mood. She had a bad day at work, and so she was in a bad mood when she initially asked me what I wanted from the store. And then she was in a bad mood when she went to get it. And the other thing is that she didn't confirm, like,
Watching you.
she wasn't sure what I wanted, but she assumed, and then she didn't double check. So what ended up happening is, it wasn't until after she bought it that she was like, wait, you said creamer, right? And I'm like, nope, I did not say that. I said the other thing. And she's like, oh, damn it. It's like, well, if you're in a bad mood or you're not sure what the hell's going on, stop, think, and ask. But she's not doing very well right now. She's not very happy at all. Having a bad time at work. And it's driving her spare, so I don't blame her. Just wish I wasn't so damn tired. And coffee would help. And I don't have any. So here we are. But this one of ours plays the doors like a set of bongos. Give $7 love. Oh, I will do. You guys did a great job last night talking to her. She'll tell me, I'll be like, go talk to people in Discord, because she'll be like, will you stream so I can hang out with people? I'm like, no, I'm tired. And like, you want to hang out with people, go on Discord. And she's like, well, they don't want to talk to me on Discord. It's like, they want to talk to you just fine. It's up, you can't be only receptive. You have to be part of the conversation. You have to talk and chat and share. You can't just like go in there and be like, hi, I'm 7, love me. And then have everyone just shower you with words. You have to, you know, they'll say hi, and then you got to talk back. It's a conversation. It goes both ways. But I tell her all the time, you guys love and miss her, and yet she does not believe me. Oh, one of ours plays the doors, like I said, a bongo's cat trying to get in and shut out. Oh yeah, ours just tries to dig under the door like it's dirt, and so she tears the crap out of the carpet. But anyway, so I may sound a little tired. I was gonna go ahead and skip Tales today, but I had kind of a stupid idea. You guys know me. When I have a stupid idea, I have to dive in both feet, right? It's like, hey KB, you got a stupid idea? Hell yeah, I do. So KB being dumb up in here. So, we're doing Tales from the Dark today for as long as I can possibly read. I will attempt to read. I can't guarantee I won't slur or screw it up in some way. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. If all goes well, all goes well. Otherwise, we will figure things out. So today's book is again Robert A. Heinlein's Space Cadet. Ooh, yeah, we're doing some Space Cadet today. Now, we didn't get very far. I've only been able to get through one chapter each week for the last 2 weeks because I keep stumbling through these things. But basically, our dear friend, what's his name? The hell is his name? We want to call him Victor, but it's not Victor, it's the other kid. Wait, I got this. Dodson, Matt Dodson. I like how the first words on the first page are Matt Dodson's name. That's how I can remember. Anyway, Matt Dodson, Mr. Dodson is on the Space Cadet spaceship in space.
Watching you.
Doing space stuff in 0G space. You think it's spacey enough? It's not enough space, or too tight. Unlike your mother. Anyway, so yeah, he's in space doing space stuff, and he's learning how to be a space cadet. And he just passed his suit training, or is it his regular suit training? He needs to go to advanced suit training, and that's where we got. I would say drink your coffee black, but I know most people are not like me. Yeah, I've tried black coffee. I have out of desperation, I have tried black coffee before. I've tried black coffee, I've tried mixing it with honey, I've tried putting in hot cocoa, I've tried 1,000 different ways to make non-sugar creamer coffee taste like anything but trash. And it does not. It does not. I can drink coffee with sugar and milk, right? Or with liquid cream, or powdered cream. And I can drink powdered coffee. And I can drink pre-mixed coffee with like the sugar and the cream like in it, like in a Keurig cup. I can drink all those. Hand me a cup of black coffee, I will let it sit there until it rots. I cannot drink coffee black. Maybe that means I'm not manly enough, you know? I'm supposed to be manly by drinking black coffee, but you know what? I'm okay with being a little wuss. I like my coffee to taste like things other than strained dirt. But yeah, I've tried drinking my coffee black. It does not agree with me. Me and black coffee, not friends. Oh, not friends. I've even tried... You guys are gonna laugh at me. I've even tried powdered sugar in coffee to try to sweeten it. Guess what? That don't work either. But I tried it. I tried powdered sugar, I tried all sorts of stuff. Hell, if I could figure out a way to melt sprinkles in the damn thing, I would. I don't have any sprinkles, but if I did and I could, I totally would. Skittles, I don't care, man. Some kind of sugar-based product in the coffee to make the coffee not taste like ass. But there's also the roast KB. A dark roast will be more bitter than a light roast. Need high-quality brewed coffee and it won't taste like crap when you drink it black. I drink American coffee.
We are.
So, you know.
Watching you.
I should get that coffee that's made from cat poop. Does KB know how ass tastes? I have bad aim, Mike. seen me play video games. Headshot? Nope. Hit him in the foot. Can't use instant powder or anything pre-made. Yeah, that's all I really drink. But no, I should. Yeah, I don't have. I've never done the grinding of my own coffee. The one time I ever even encountered coffee that you grind yourself was at somebody else's house, and I'm pretty certain they had a coffee bean jammed in their grinder. I mean, I was a little kid, so I wasn't very strong to begin with, but I could not get that thing to grind where the damn. It's like, hey, what's this? Like coffee grinder. It's like, ooh. So I tried to grind it and it would not move. So I just think their coffee grinder got jammed up. I know now that grinding things like coffee is hard because Seven bought one of those little salt shakers with the rock salt in it, and you have to like grind it yourself. So now I understand it. You know, grinding is hard. I don't know why people who grind their own stuff don't have like, you know, upper arms like just Popeye. But Lady G, welcome. So it's the coffee's fault you can't drink it black? No, it's not the coffee's fault I can't drink it black. I don't like the taste of black coffee. I don't like the taste of beer either, so I would make a lousy German. I've only ever had vodka once in my life, and it was flavored vodka. I don't know if I'd actually like vodka. I'm actually afraid to drink vodka because I fear that if I drink vodka and I don't take it well, then I'm not a good Russian either. That would break my heart. So I don't drink vodka to make sure that I'm a real Russian. People say, well, do you like vodka? I'm like, that I've never really had a chance to drink vodka because Americans don't drink vodka straight. Apparently we don't like drinking lighter fluid. I don't know why. It seemed perfectly fine to me, but Americans don't drink vodka straight. We drink it with mixers, you know. Who needs vodka when you can have Kiryu? Well, if you're not careful, vodka will kill you. Anyway, so I was letting you guys know we are going to do something a little bit different today with Tales from the Dark. We're not going to be using my background. I had a funky idea, and it's kind of working a little bit. So you guys get to see something fun. So before we begin, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that today's music is brought to you by New Retro Wave. You can find all the music available for free to listen to over on YouTube or Spotify. If you like any songs you heard today, please note the title song and the artist can be found scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And now we're going to get into the game. That is not the game. It may look like the game. It may smell like the game. It may seem somewhat like a game type thing, but it is not in fact the game. What the hell is popping in my kitchen? My neighbor's up bouncing around like a fat ass. Pardon me. Seven and I have a love-hate relationship with our neighbors. We love to hate them. Alright, so here we go. And we have our roaring fire. And we have our audience. See, we have our audience. We have Timmy and Jimmy and Tommy and little Billy is in his sleeping bag. See, so we have we have candles out for the ambiance and a nice roaring fire to keep us company. So, hey, I told you I'm tired. This is what happens when I get tired. Grey Goose French vodka, 3 liters. I really drink rum straight, but a good whiskey on the rocks. I do scotch, but I have to drink it slow. I don't drink alcohol much, ever. I'm more of a, does it have sugar in it kind of guy. So we have our audience, and we have our candles, and we have our fireplace, and hey, check it. I gotta show this to you guys. When I was walking around the facilita, excuse my hiccup. When I was walking around the facilitatas, looking for an audience. Okay. Apparently everyone is just broken up over here. Look, it's snowing outside. Now you know. See, now you know it's snowing outside. Now you'll be like, hey, we're inside a roaring fire with all our friends and some candlelight, and it's snowing outside. I know, it's wonderful. Yeah, so in this way, if I bork it up too much, we can just, you know, dispose of the evidence. But I thought you guys might like this whole, because I just needed a roaring fire, right? It's Christmas time. That's right. It's Christmas time. Look at all the red and decorations. Yeah. Look, we can even see the aurora from here. Ah. Oh god, I'm tired. I am tired. Alright, so this is our day, so you guys can watch my twiddly fingers do twiddly. And Tommy and Billy and Timmy and Bobby can all sit there and listen to the story time, because it's story time, kids. Grey Goose isn't really cheap, but it should be available for an acceptable price, and the Russians as well as Poles we met deemed it acceptable for a European vodka, which is basically high price. Hey, if a Russian says it's good vodka, okay. So we're going to try to read today. If we cannot read today, we'll find something else to do. We can probably just clean this place up, I suppose. Now you guys have to remind me, I forgot last week that I was donating, so I ended up streaming until 2. And I made it to my donation and I made it out on time, but I was a little bit late for work and it was very, very stressful. So I have to remember that I'm only streaming until 1 today. 1, that's 1300 hours. Because last time I was not a good day. But anyway. So we are on... oh wait. Forgot to do a thing. I forgot to do a thing. KB, why are you always forgetting things? Alright, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Space Cadet. So people know why I'm just standing here. Nice VCD background for reading today. Yep. Yep. There it is. Reading time. We have an audience and everything, and candlelight. A nice roaring fire. Oh yeah. KB knows how to make it work. 1300, that's in 18 hours. Can do. Alright, how about in 3 hours time? Haha, whatever that is, your local time. Give or take 15 minutes. Alright, so here we are in Chapter 8, Terra Station. So, Tex and Matt just got their Icon spacesuit and 0G license, I guess you could say. They got their training. I think I might like the VCD background better for story time. They just got their you can be in a spacesuit license. Pardon my yawn. And so they're allowed shore leave on Terra Station, which is the orbital space platform. So that's where we are now. Liberty Party, man the scooter. Matt zipped up the front of his spacesuit and hurriedly ran through the routine check. Oscar and Tex urged him along as the Liberty Party was already filing through the door of the lock. The cadet officer of the watch checked Matt in and sealed the door of the lock behind him. The lock was a long corridor, sealed at each end, leading to a hangar pocket in the side of the Randolph in which the scooter rockets were stowed. The pressure died away, and the far end of the rocket opened. Far end of the lock opened. I'm not going to be doing very well today, I can already tell. Matt pulled himself along last in line and found the scooter loaded. He could not find a place. The passenger racks were filled with space-suited cadets busy strapping down. The cadet pilot beckoned to him. Matt picked his way forward and touched helmets. "Mister," said the oldster, "can you read instruments?" Guessing that he referred only to the simple instrument panel of a scooter, Matt answered, "Yes, sir." "Then get in the co-pilot's chair. What's your mass?" 287, sir," Matt answered, giving the combined mass in pounds of himself and his suit with all its equipment. Matt strapped down, then looked around, trying to locate Tex and Oscar. He was feeling very important, even though a scooter requires a co-pilot about as much as a hog needs a spare tire. Excuse me, tail. I was like, why would a hog need a spare tire? But hey, whatever. I will eventually get this. I will get into this. I'm just gonna try to dive into it. I read, you know what? I read in games. Give me something, a piece of paper or a note I pick up off the floor in a video game, and I can read that thing top to bottom, left to right, barely a hiccup. Hand me a book, and I'm suddenly stuttering like I'm a moron. I have no idea what the hell's going on. It's gotta be my eyes. I blame my eyes, kids. You know why I blame my eyes? Because I can't flip and see. But on the plus side, today is my $50 day. Today is my $50 donation day, and I will be at $452 as of today. Next week, on Wednesday, I will be up to $470. And then on Saturday, I will be up to 500 and math. 520. And because I'll be up to 520, I'll be able to get a new pair of glasses. I hope. I think. I know. Just joined in. What's up? Why can't you see? Hi, Rotten Frog. I have my left eye doesn't focus properly. I haven't been able to see properly out of my left eye for the last 8 years. And it's just getting worse. Now it's to the point where literally, if I close my right eye, my left eye is so out of focus that I can barely see my screen. So my right eye is basically the eye I see out of. And it causes reading to be a problem because as I move towards the left of something, I start to stutter. And even though I can see what I'm looking at, for whatever reason, I start to stutter. So words on the left-hand side of the page, or on the left-hand page, are harder for me to read than words on the right-hand side of the page. Even though I can see them, I can identify them. For whatever reason, my brain is like fighting me. So, why have I waited? Because I work a minimum wage job. I went to college, which didn't get me a good job, and I have about $1,000 million billion worth of bills that I have to pay. And I've always worked at places where if they even offer you any kind of health insurance, they never offer you any kind of eye insurance. And since a pair of glasses and like an eye exam costs like $300, it's like one of those down on the menu kind of things. But I am donating plasma. I have almost enough money. I'm gonna save up my money. I'm gonna take it in there and be like, "Hi, I saved up this much money. Can I please have an eye exam and maybe some glasses, okay?" And then they're gonna be like, "Do you have insurance?" I'm like, "No, I'm paying cash." And they'll be like, "Well, we can't take it if you don't have insurance." I'm like, "I'm paying cash. You can act like I never even came in here and keep the money to yourself. Just give me some damn glasses, people. Jesus." And actually, technically, I haven't waited. I actually have a pair of glasses. I just put them on right now. The problem is that they're plastic lenses, and that's not really a big deal. You can barely tell the difference. The problem becomes is that on the front of those lenses, they put an anti-glare coating, which has since worn down and begun to crack and fog, and some of these glasses are fogged. They're literally foggy. I put them on, and it's like looking through, well, milk almost. And I tried to scrape the stuff off because you can apparently clean it off if you use the right tools, and I scratched the shaz out of one of the lenses. Not that it matters because the prescription's off anyway. But the eye doctor I went to for these, I told him what was going on. I said, "I cannot see out of my left eye." I said, "My right eye's fine. I can see out of my right eye. And yes, I can read at like 10 feet because my right eye is doing all the work." I said, "But if I close my right eye," and he's like, "Don't do that." And I'm like, no. If I close my right eye, my left eye is crap and I can barely see you from here. And for whatever reason, he's like, "Your eyesight's fine." I'm like, "Yeah, that's because you read all the data from my right eye. Like, literally, as long as my right eye is open, I'm fine. The muscles on my left side are getting weak, and they're not focusing my eye properly." And so he didn't listen to me. And I got these glasses, and they kind of help a little bit. But because they're foggy, there's like one corner I can see through. And I don't even think it focuses properly. But, yeah, my eyesight's gotten worse over time. So I have to go in and get, like, new glasses. But the crappy part is my company just got bought by another company who's going to offer eye insurance, but that's not going to happen until January. So I have a choice. I can pay out of pocket right now for the eyeglasses, or I can wait until January, get on the insurance, and hope to God that that pays for my glasses. In either case, it's like, you know? And I say that because eyeglasses are one of those things where you buy them once and you don't really need it. I mean, why should I pay money every single month for for eyeball insurance, basically, if they're just going to pay for my glasses once and then I'm not going to need them again for like a year? It's like, can I just pay you $15 now, you pay for my glasses I cut out, and then we do it again next year? Got cataract in my right eye, so I'm in the same boat. Well, the other boat. Hey, let's trade eyeballs. You can have my left, and I can take your right. And wait, would that work? No, because we still have crappy vision. And then if one of us took the other one's bad eye, it would be unbalanced. Oh. But anyway, I can see. It's just I have a hard time reading sometimes. Plus, this is an actual book, and you know how actual books are. One of us is blind as shiz and the other? Yeah. we're trying here. We're trying. Alright, so I'm going to try to get back to the book. I took my glasses off. I tried. It ain't going to work, so I was going to read without. Where was I? Spare tail, not tire, excuse me. The other thing is in order to read at speed, I will have to assume what the next word is, and for some authors, I can assume the next word fairly well. I can assume the next word and just be dead on every single time. The problem is with Heinlein and a couple other authors, they like to pick random, strange, not ever used before words and then insert them with letters and other words that make it sound like you're going to say word A, and then you say word X instead. And so I end up assuming the wrong word, and when I start saying it, I get there and I'm like, yeah, that's not right. But that's how you speed read, is you have to assume what the next word is going to be. Which is probably why everything now is written, well, everything now is written the way it is because it's written for 3-year-olds on the internet. You have ADD? Here's a 3-word sentence that tells you everything about policy. Oh, I understand foreign policy perfectly now. Kill everyone different. Sorry. On wood. I like to read and discover details when playing a game and whatnot. I love reading all those details, so I start studying around like I'm just learning to read. Yeah. I just get nervous when I do tales. Everyone seems to like tales, but for whatever reason I always get nervous and I start to stutter. But I'll get back to this. I'll get back to the story. Because we've barely made it 3 paragraphs and we're already 10 minutes in. The oldster entered Matt's mass on his center of gravity, and moment of inertia chart, stared at it thoughtfully, and said to Matt, "Tell G3 to swap places with B2. Matt switched on his walkie-talkie and gave the order. There was a scramble while a heavy-set youngster changed seats with a smaller cadet. The pilot gave a high sign to the cadet manning the hangar pocket. The scooter and its launching cradle swung out of the pocket, pushed by power-driven lazy tongs. I have no idea what the hell power-driven lazy tongs is, but it sounds like a conundrum. Was it an oxymoron? Dr. Poole was right. You're both an ox and a moron. A scooter is a passenger rocket, reduced to its simplest terms, and has been described as a hat rack with an outboard motor. It operates only in empty space and does not have to be streamlined. The rocket motor is unenclosed. Around it is a tier of light metal supports, the passenger rack. There is no ship in the sense of a hull, airtight compartments, etc. The passengers just belt themselves to the rack and let the rocket motor scoot them along. When the scooter was clear of the ship, the cadet in the hangar pocket turned the launching cradle by power until the scooter pointed at Terra Station. The pilot slapped the keys in front of him. The scooter took off. You know, that 2-paragraph description about exactly what a scooter is probably should have come like right after they introduced dots into it, rather than right in the middle of it launching. It's like he wrote it like a movie. Like there's a guy narrating a film. You're watching the film and he's like, as a thing swinging out, nothing important's happening. So the narrator's like, well, this would be a good time to explain exactly what that thing is. It's like, no, in a book you explain it as soon as you see it. So when you start talking about it and people are moving around it, you have a visual image of what it's supposed to look like. See, now I'm critiquing. Sorry, I'll go back to reading and stop critiquing. The cadet pilot watched his radar scope. When the distance to the station was closing at 88 feet per second, he cut his jets. Latch onto the station, he told Matt. Matt plugged in and called the station. Scooter number 3, Randolph, scheduled trip. Arriving 9 minutes, plus or minus. Matt sent and congratulated himself on having studied the spool on small craft procedures. Roger, a feminine voice answered, then added, use out-orbit contact platform B for busy. B for busy, acknowledged Matt. Traffic? None out-orbit. Winged Victory in orbit, warping in. Matt reported to his pilot. No traffic, repeated the oldster. Mister, I'm going to catch 40 winks. Wake me when we've closed to 1.5 miles. Aye, sir. Think you could bring her in? Matt gulped. I'll try, sir. Figure it out while I'm asleep. The cadet promptly closed his eyes, floating as comfortably in free fall as he had been in his own cubicle. Matt concentrated on the instrument dials. You know, I honestly couldn't... I don't think I could sleep strapped to a chunk of metal with an engine on it while an idiot was sitting next to me at the controls. It's like, I'm just gonna float here, sleep for a little bit. We'll be cool. It'll be fine. Don't worry, we're not gonna die. Unless we do. I don't blame you. You gotta have a lot of trust in the newbies you're gonna let them do that. 1 second, guys. I gotta step. That's the other thing. For whatever reason, on Saturdays when I'm trying to read, my nose stuffs up. It's like my brain's trying to tell me stop doing that, KB. Like literally, it's like trying to force me to not read. Ooh, what's up, fireplace? Had to recycle. It's like it's forcing me to try not to read. Or was I? Right. 7 minutes later, he shook the oldster, who opened his eyes and said, "What's your flight plan, mister?" "Well, if we keep going as is, we'll just slide past on the out-orbit side. I don't think I'd change it at all. When we close to 4,000 feet, I'd blast until our relative speed is down to about 10 foot per second. Assuming 10 foot seconds. Then forget the radar and brake by eye as we pass along the side." "You've been studying too hard." "Is that wrong?" Matt asked anxiously. "Nope. Go ahead, do it." The oldster bent over the tracking scope to assure himself that the scooter would miss the station. Matt watched the closing range while excitement built up inside him. Once he glanced ahead at the shining cylindrical bulk of the station, but looked back quickly. A few seconds later, he punched his firing key and a plume of flame shot out of the front of them. The scooter has jets at both ends, served by the same interconnected tanks, fuel pumps, and piping. Scooters are conned by the seat of your pants rather than by complex mathematics. As such, they are invaluable in letting student pilots get the feel of rocket ships. As the distance decreased, Matt felt for the first time the old nightmare of rocket pilots. Is the calculated maneuver enough to avoid a crash? He felt this, even though he knew his course would slide him past the corner of the mammoth structure. It was a relief to release the firing key. The officer said, "Can you spot B for busy when you see it?" Matt shook his head. "No, sir, this is my first trip to Terra Station." "It is? And I let you pilot." "Well, there it is, ahead, third platform down. Better start braking." "Aye, sir." The scooter was passing along the side of the station and about 100 yards out, at the speed of a brisk walk. Matt let B for busy approach for a few moments more, then gave a short experimental blast. It did not seem to slow them much. He gave a somewhat longer blast. A few minutes later, he had the scooter almost dead in space and practically abreast their contact point. He looked inquiringly at the pilot. "I've seen worse," the oldster grunted. "Tell them to bring us in." "Randolph, number 3 ready for contact," Matt reported via radio. "We see you," the girl's voice answered. "Stand by for a line." A line, shot by a gun, came sailing out in a perfectly flat trajectory and passed through a small metal loop sticking out from the scooter. "I relieve you, sir," the pilot told Matt. "Shimmy out there and make that line fast." A few minutes later, the scooter was secured to the platform B for busy, and the cadets were filing into the platform's airlock. Matt located Oscar and Tex in the suiting room, and they undressed together. "Ooh." "Sorry, had to." "What did you think of that contact?" Matt said to them, with studied casualness. "All right, I guess," answered Tex. "What about it?" "I made it." Oscar raised his eyebrows. "You did? Nice going, kid." Tex looked amazed. "The pilot let you jockey it? On your first trip?" "Well, why not? You think I'm kidding?" "No, I'm just impressed." "May I touch you?" "How about an autograph?" "Oh, come off it." They were, of course, in the free-fall part of the station. As soon as they had stowed their suits, they hurried to the centrifugal belt, frequented by the traveling public. Oscar knew his way around somewhat, having changed ships at the station when he was a candidate, and led them to the door at the axis of rotation, the only possible place to pass from the free-fall zone to the weighted zone. Space scooter? A space Vespa? Yeah, basically. From the axis, they went down several levels past offices and private quarters to the first of the public levels. It was in effect a wide, brightly lighted street with a high ceiling and was sideways down the middle. Shops and restaurants lined it. The sideways curved up and away in the distance, for the corridor curved completely around the station. "This," Oscar told them, "is Paradise Walk." "I see why," agreed Tex, and gave a low whistle. The others followed his gaze. A tall, willowy blonde, dressed in some blue wisps of nothing much, was looking in the display window of a jewelry shop. "Take it easy, Tex," advised Oscar. "She's taller than you are." "I like 'em tall," Tex answered. "Watch me." He sauntered over to the young woman. Matt and Oscar could not hear his opening remark, but it did not offend her, for she laughed. Then she looked him up down with a cool amusement and spoke. Her voice carried quite clearly. "I am married and at least 10 years older than you are. I never pick up cadets." Tex appeared to tuck his tail between his legs and skunk back towards his friends. He started to say fiercely, "Well, you can't rule a guy out for trying," when the woman called out, "Wait a moment, all 3 of you." She came up to them and looked from Matt to Oscar. "You are youngsters, aren't you?" "Youngster cadets, yes, ma'am," answered Oscar. She fumbled in her jeweled pouch. "If you want to have some fun and meet some younger girls, you might try this address." She handed Oscar a card. He looked startled and said, "Thank you, ma'am." "Not at all." She moved away and managed to lose herself in the crowd at once. "What does it say?" demanded Matt. Oscar looked at it and held it out. "Read it." Terrace Station, First Baptist Church, Ralph Smiley, DD Pastor, Social Hall, number 2437, level C. KB to accept Steam friends. I have some shenanigans in mind. Well, I usually do accept Steam friends, but I'm not. I'm very rarely actually active online. I stopped going online on Steam when I was doing YouTube because I got tired of every time I was playing a game, people would send me random messages going, "Hi, people on YouTube," because they thought I was recording. Which, if you think I'm recording, don't be that guy. You know, I don't need a photo bomb, and I don't need a hi mom in the background. So I just permanently turned it off. I'm always offline now. I haven't turned it on in like 3 years, minus the few times I've turned it on in order to play Astroneer. And that's really it, because I just got tired of people popping up on my Steam going, "Hey," and I'm just like, dudes, I'm not recording, and if I were, this would be off, and don't be a dick. Anyway, so yeah, I do accept Steam friends. But I don't click links. I don't ever chat on there. I use Discord for all that. So, Text Grant. Well, you can't say I scored a clean miss. There ensued an argument. Matt and Tex wanted to go at once to the social hall. Oscar insisted that he was hungry and wanted some civilized food. The longer they argued, the more reasonable seemed Oscar's case. Finally, Tex switched sides and Matt gave in to the majority. He regretted it a few minutes later when he saw the prices on the menu. The restaurant they selected was a tourist trap, a fancy dining room with an adjoining bar. It had human waiters instead of automatic tables, and items were priced accordingly. Tex saw the expression on his face. "Relax, Max," he told him. "This one is on me. Pop sent me a check." "Oh, I wouldn't want to do that." "Want to fight?" Matt grinned. "Okay, thanks." Oscar said, "How hard shall we punish you, Tex? Tea and toast?" "Anything you want. Let's really celebrate. Which reminds me, I think we ought to have a drink." "Huh?" said Oscar. "And have an MP catch us? No, thank you." Matt started to protest, but Tex stood up. "Just leave this to Father Jarman. It's high time you two poor, underprivileged outlanders tasted a real old southern mint julep." He started for the bar. Oscar shrugged. Tex scouted out the bar before entering. There was no cadets, of course. More important, there were no officers and no Marine MPs. The hour was early and the bar almost deserted. He went up to the bartender. "Can you make a mint julep?" he asked. The bartender looked up and answered, "Beat it, I'm not supposed to serve you liquor. This is off limits to cadets." "I didn't ask if this was off limits. I asked if you could make a mint julep." Tex slid a bill across the counter. 3 mint juleps, in fact. The barman eyed the bill. Finally, he caused it to disappear. "Go on back to the dining room." "Right," said Tex. A few minutes later, a waiter placed a complete tea service in front of them, but the teapot did not contain tea. Tex poured out the drink, splitting it carefully 3 ways in teacups. "Here's to you, chums. Drink up." Matt took a sip. "Tastes like medicine," he announced. "Like medicine?" Tex protested. "This noble potion? I'll meet you at dawn, sir. Coffee and pistols for 2. Hi, Twitch people. Hi, Brooklaw. See, this pop-up I don't mind. I put it up there on purpose for you guys. I still say it tastes like medicine. What do you think of it, Oscar? It's not bad. Matt pushed his aside. "Aren't you going to drink it?" asked Tex. "No thanks, Tex, really, but I think it would make me sick. I guess I'm a sissy." "Well, we won't waste it." He picked up Matt's cup and poured some into his own. "Split it with me, Oscar?" "No, you go ahead." "Okay, if you say so." He poured the rest into his cup. When the food they ordered was served, Tex was no longer interested. While Matt and Oscar were busily chewing, he kept urging them to sing. "Come on, Oscar, you can learn it." "I can't sing." "Sure you can. I've heard you sing with the Hog Alley Band. I'll sing the verse, we'll all clap, and hit the chorus together." "And I'm not singing Deep in the Heart of Texas, sorry." "Like that." "Shut up," said Oscar. "It'll be Deep in the Heart of Trouble." Killjoy. "Come on, Matt. I can't sing with my mouth full." "Look," said Oscar to Matt in a tense, low voice. "Do you see what I see?" Matt looked and saw Lieutenant Wong entering the far end of the dining room. He went to a table, sat down, looked around, spotted the table of cadets, nodded, and started studying a menu. "Oh, mother," Matt breathed softly. "Then we'll sing Ioway," announced Tex. "I'm broad-minded." We won't sing anything. For the love of Mike, Tex, shut up. An officer just came into the joint. Where? Demanded Tex. Invite him over. I don't hold any grudges. They're good old boys, all of them. The stinkers. Matt shot a quick glance at Lieutenant Wong, and he was dismayed to see the officer crooking a finger at him, beckoning. He got up and walked stiffly toward the officer. Dodson? Yes, sir? Go back and tell Jarman to quiet down before I have to come over there and ask him what his name is. Aye, sir. I love that line. When he got back to the table, Tex was already quiet and appeared sobered, but very much puzzled. Oscar's usually pleasant face was dark with anger. What's the verdict? Matt reported. I see. Wong's all right. Well, we gotta get him out of here. Oscar flagged the waiter, then opened Tex's pouch and paid the bill. He stood up. Let's go. Pull yourself together, Tex, or I'll break your neck. Where to? Asked Matt. Into the fresher. Fortunately, it turned out that they had that room to themselves. Oscar marched Tex to a wash basin and told him to stick his finger down his throat. Why? Objected Tex. Because if you don't, I'll do it for you. Look, Matt, can you take care of him? I'll be back in a few minutes. It was nearly 20 minutes before Oscar returned, bearing a carton of hot black coffee and a tube of pills. He forced the coffee and half a dozen of the pills on the patient. What are the pills? Matt wanted to know. Thiamine chloride. You seem to know your way around. Well, Oscar wrinkled his brow. Venus isn't like Earth, you know. Still sort of wild and woolly. You see a lot of things go on. Drink the rest of your coffee, Tex. Yes, sir. The front of his uniform is all messed up, said Matt. So I see. I guess we should have undressed him. What'll we do? If he does go back like that, there'll be questions asked. Bad ones. Let me think. Presently, he said to Tex, go in there. Oscar indicated one of a row of fresher booths. Take off your uniform. Hand it out and lock yourself in. We'll be back after a while. Tex seemed to feel that he was being consigned to the salt mines, but there was no real opposition left in him. He went. Shortly thereafter, Matt and Oscar left. Oscar with a tightly rolled bundle of a cadet uniform under one arm. Hey guys, I have to pause for a moment. My nose is attempting to drain, I guess. If that makes any sense. I told you my right nostril is all stuffed up, and now I'm getting this tickly, burny feeling like it's trying to drain out, and I'm like 2 milliseconds from sneezing at a bunch, and I can't read and not sneeze at the same time. So 1 second while I try to do something functional here. Okay, I think that might have helped a little bit. Sorry about that. You ever miss a game, but when you think about playing that game, you know why you stopped in the first place? I keep getting that feeling with a bunch of MMOs. Yeah, I keep thinking like, Secret World was fun, but it's only fun for like the first 20 minutes, so why install it? You know? Or, Knights of the Old Republic was fun, but it was grindy even before they made it grindier. You know, I keep having that feeling. I'm like, huh. Anyway, sorry, my nose is being weird today, so I do apologize. I should just probably stop reading on Saturdays, honestly. Where was I? Here we go. They took the slideway half around the station, through crowds of gorgeously dressed and hurrying people, past rich and beckoning shops. Matt enjoyed it thoroughly. They say, said Oscar, that this is what the big cities used to be like, back before the disorders. So it certainly doesn't look like Des Moines. Nor like Venus. Oscar found what he was looking for, an automatic laundry service in a passageway off the waiting room of the emigrant zone. After a considerable wait, the uniform came back to them, clean, pressed, and neatly packaged. It being Terra Station, the cost was sky high. Matt looked at what remained of his funds. Might as well be broke, he said, and invested the remainder in a pound of chocolate-coated cherries. They hurried back. Tex looked so woebegone and so glad to see them that Matt had a sudden burst of generosity and handed the box to Tex. Present to you, you poor, miserable, worthless critter. Tex seemed touched by the gesture. It was no more than a gesture, since candy and such are, by ancient right, community property among roommates. Hurry up and get dressed, Tex. The scooter shoves off in just 32 minutes. 25 minutes later, suited up, they were filing into the airlock. Tex with the chocolates under his arm. Your Arduino bot source files are gone? Uh-oh. Black Desert Online is rather fun. ESO seems to have only gotten better, though haven't touched much since its initial release. I played the initial beta, open whatever, of Elder Scrolls Online, and I quit after I had to stand in line to talk to a dude for that dude to tell me that I was the one who could save the world. And immediately told the guy behind me that he was the one who could save the world. I'm like, MMOs are nothing more than you going to soothsayers and fortune tellers and believing what they're telling you. that's what an RPG is. An RPG is literally you go to people who in real life you would scoff at as liars and thieves, and you sit down in front of them and you say, "Tell me of my future," and they say, "You are the one who will save the entirety of the world," and you're like, "Yes, yes, tell me more," and you will have great riches and bitches, and you'll be like, "Yes, yes, yes," and then go forth and try not to die. I'm out of here, yo, and then you go run off into the night, start swinging your sword and killing things. Guild Wars 2. I got to the end of Guild Wars 2, and by the end, I mean I got to the last area where they force you, and it's always the same with Guild Wars, where they force you to team up with other people. You can play the entire game solo all the way to the end of the game, and then at the very end of the game, they force you to group up with people, and I don't group up with people. I do pugs every once in a while, like in Lord of the Rings Online, which was my MMO of choice, and I still haven't played that in like 2 years. In Lord of the Rings Online, I would do pugs, like pickup games. I would love, or pickup groups, and I would love to do pugs with people, because I was a healer. I was a minstrel. I'd be sitting there just, chilling out, doing my own thing, and people would be like, "We need people to go do this thing." I'd be like, I'm in, dudes. You guys need heals? I'm there, dude. But as a healer, you're the linchpin of a group. You got to keep all the right people alive at all the right times, and you have to be like statted for it. So I would very rarely do any kind of pickup game, because I would do it as a secondary healer. I'd be like, "Look, I am not a main healer, dude. I mean, I can be, I will be, but if you need two, I will be number two. You get someone in here who's geared up and knows what the hell they're doing, and I will stand next to them and act like I know what I'm doing." So, and we did okay. I will admit that the only time we ever lost a raid that we were in was one where it all went bad the first time, and then we just couldn't get back on it, and then people were starting to leave, and we couldn't pick anyone up, so. Mine was World of Warcraft, then it became Kung Fu Panda. I couldn't play WoW, because the problem with WoW is like D&D. It's been around for so long, and people have been playing it for so long that they have like max level characters, right? And so they tell you, they're like, "Man, I'm back in WoW because it got out this expansion. I've been playing it. It's totally awesome. You should come play." And you're like, "I don't have a character in WoW." And they say, "Well, man, you just jump in there. You can get to level 100 in like a couple of days." And you're like, "Okay." And so you jump in there and you start grinding your ass off. You get to level like 20 or 30. And you're like, "Hey, man, I'm at level 20 or level 30 or level whatever, and I'm getting up there." And they're like, "Oh, no, dude. I stopped playing that a couple of days ago. I'm bored now. I'm done." And you're just like, so you have a choice. Go back into WoW and grind up to level 100, so the next time your buddies feel like playing again when the next expansion comes out, you can join them like on point, or just quit and go play something fun. So I quit and go play something fun. But I do solo MMOs. Like Secret World is good for solo for most part. Guild Wars was okay up to a point. What's funny is Star Wars is made specifically to be solo unless you want to do the group runs, which is a really good design in my opinion. The problem is their pricing system is shot to hell, so I'm just like, nope. Because I like games where you can play with other people, but you don't have to group up. You're not like, "Hey man, I need to get to this next story section, but I can't." And they're like, "Well, why not?" Like, because I need exactly 5 people who play this game too to be all online at the same time, and there ain't no way that's gonna happen. That's why I always did pickup games in Lord of the Rings, because people are all like, "I need to get this quest done," and I'm like, "I'm there, dude." And like, "Why are you helping?" It's like, because I'm 20 levels above you, and I know how like insanely hard this quest was. I know how much of an ass kicking this quest can be. So I'm here online right now. You need help. I am here to help you. Let's do this. Plus, in Lord of the Rings, they added this system where no matter where you are in the game, you can help anybody else in the game. Which means if you're all the way at the end of the game and someone at the very beginning of the game is like, hey man, I need this help on this like level 3 or level 4 quest, or level 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever, you can literally jump in and say, I will assist you. And you don't have to run or fast travel or anything all the way there. They just invite you to their party, launch it, and you're in. And so as a healer, what I do is I'd be like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back and I'm going to keep you alive. You are going to kill the beasties. I ain't going to touch nothing. And so I'd sit there and I'd just keep them alive the entire time. Just and then if anything came at me, I'd do crowd control and just push them back. Be like, nope, go over there. Bug him. You know, it worked for the most part. I helped some people through some pretty hard stuff. Some stuff that I couldn't do until I did grinding. Like, I'd grind like 10 levels above the level, and then I'd go back and beat it solo. So, KB, oddly, I think you might like Destiny for that, sort of. You can get almost everything without playing with other people. Yeah, people are playing Destiny 2. My problem is it's a console game. It's not that it's I don't have a problem with console games. I had no interest in Destiny. And Destiny's launch was really rocky. And the game never really drew my interest. Like, the game was kind of geared towards Halo people a little bit, you know? I mean, it's made by Bungie, so of course it's geared, everyone who ever played Halo is like, "Er?" But it was geared towards Halo type players. And then I saw the multiplayer, and it's just like, it's a first-person MMO. And, you know? It's a gear grind, and to me. Because you're not playing a single-player story, you're just gear grinding. I mean, there's some story there, but what's the story? You save the world? The world's already dead. What, you save your little portion of the world? Not really. I mean, when you're fighting the same monsters on the same map 40 times in a row, you start to feel like maybe, just maybe, you're never going to liberate this place? That's my problem with that kind of play. But I had the same problem with the Division. I played a free weekend of the Division, and the problem I had with the Division was literally after the first 20 minutes of the game, you have played everything the game has to offer, and all they do is crank the difficulty up a notch. And then you do it again, and then they crank it up a notch, and you do it again. And all they do is just stack numbers on top of numbers, so you just get bigger guns that have better numbers, and then you shoot people with more bullets who can absorb more bullets. I have never known a guy who can take 400 5.56 rounds to the face and walk away. Can't understand that, and actually there is a story, though the first game didn't do so well with that. Yeah, that's why I wasn't interested in the first one. Everyone's like super hyped for the second one. I'm like, eh. Like, I think my other problem with multiplayer games like that is the ADD of the players. Like, if you buy a game that has multiplayer but is also a single-player game, you're not really out anything. But if you play a game that is all multiplayer, and the multiplayer base leaves for another game, you're screwed. And there's always going to be those hardcore people who stay. I mean, when the original Xbox servers were going down and Halo 2 was being disconnected, there were people who forced their Xboxes to stay logged in because they couldn't shut down the servers until everyone was logged out. And so there were people who kept their Xboxes on for like a week because they didn't want the Halo 2 servers to shut down. So you're always going to have those hardcore people who are like claws in there the entire time. Like, you're going to have people playing Destiny 1 because screw Destiny 2. But there are going to be times when, like, you start playing a game with a bunch of people and then they quit playing that game. Whether it's because they have a hard time with it, they don't like it anymore, something better comes out, it gets old, they shut down the servers, whatever reason. And so you buy a game, and like For Honor, I think. I got For Honor because I watched Spooner Sloth play it, and we played it for a while, and now Spooner Sloth doesn't play For Honor anymore. And it's just like, okay. So, like, my reason to play it is now gone, so I don't play For Honor anymore. So it's almost like a wasted purchase. I mean, there is a single-player game, but the single-player game is just for unlocking and, like, tutorial and unlocking for practice to play the multiplayer game, which I don't play. So, you know. Borderlands 2, everybody always wants me to play Borderlands games. I don't like Borderlands. I can't. I played Borderlands 1, I got through it. Back then I had console friends who I played it with, and it was okay, but I tried to play it a second time, and I couldn't. I knew what the ending was. I knew where the ending was. I knew how to get there. All I needed was bigger and better guns to get there. Even alternate characters and alternate playstyles weren't even enough to get me to go, hey, let's play it again. And then Borderlands 2 is just Borderlands 1 with a slightly different story. The Borderlands is not my type of game either. But then again, I don't like bullet sponges. If I put a round through someone's head, I want them to die, not go ow and have their little health bar go down a little bit. One moment, I have to remove my sweater. I am too hot. And if you guys are wondering why I'm so down on multiplayer, it's because my favorite multiplayer game ever, my most favorite multiplayer game ever that I played forever, and I was a raunchy, loudmouth little bastard, to put it politely. Seven doesn't like when I play that game because I got racist, I got rude, I got mean, and maybe it's because I was playing on a console with other console kiddies, but that's just the mentality. That's how it works, and that's one of the reasons I stopped playing multiplayer games, because I get foul. I get foul and mean. My favorite game was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because I used to play Call of Duty 3 all the time back in the day, and I was always mad. I was mad. A KAR 98K German rifle takes 2 chest shots to kill somebody as a soldier, but as a sniper, which is the same exact rifle with a scope on it, takes 1 shot to the chest to kill somebody. In my opinion, the addition of a visual ocular device on a weapon does not increase its projectile velocity or impact damage. And so I've always hated multiplayer games because I hated the fact that I never played Halo, because I would empty a clip into some dude and his shield would go down and then he'd kill me, and then somebody would run by and shoot him once and he'd die and I wouldn't get the kill because I didn't kill him. It's like I did all the flipping work, but I didn't kill him. So I never played Halo or any of those games. My favorite game and my favorite game mode was hardcore on Modern Warfare. Because hardcore on Modern Warfare was the most fun I had ever had. The first time they ever decided that a single bullet to the chest from any weapon could drop a dude, I kicked ass at those games. Because at that point, it's not about Halo jumping and bouncing around and hoping that the other guy runs out of bullets before you do. It's literally about reaction time. And so I'd see a guy and I'd put a round through him. Boom, done, down. My favorite gun in that game was the MP5, because I love the MP5. It was a great gun. My favorite gun was the MP5. And I love the H&K because they have the little dot sight. It's just a little nub with a round halo over it. And you put that nub underneath someone's chin, you squeeze off a round, and their head disappears. Maybe that's not 100% realistic, but I love that game. I would snipe people with an RPD, a Russian heavy machine gun. I would put rounds through people's heads from across the map. Because all it takes is reaction time and just being slightly faster on the trigger than the other guy. And I loved it. I had the most fun in those games I have ever had. Even getting killed was fun because you didn't have you wasn't people just throwing around grenades or stabbing you in the back. The bullets actually did something. Unfortunately, in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, they asked the community, "Hey community, what do you want to see added to the game?" And that ruined it because the community was only thinking about each individual player, not the overall balance of the game. So they started saying things, well, I want camo, and I want to be able to hide from scans, and I want a silent sniper rifle. And basically they were saying, I want to camp in the corner of the map and not let anybody see me, and I want to kill everybody, but I don't want to be called a cheater. And so the devs unfortunately listened to those idiots, and Modern Warfare 2 was a horrendous pile of tripe. So yeah, I think for me, Modern Warfare was the penultimate in multiplayer because I felt like I had agency. I felt like as a team member, my job was to keep my other teammates alive, and to do that, I had to make the other team members dead, and I could actually do that with the guns at my disposal. You didn't just have to have the biggest, heaviest gun with the largest clip. You could use any gun in your arsenal and murder people, and it worked for me. Because I got bored. When I got to, like, if you guys remember, you got in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, when you did the prestige thing, you could level up one more time, but you couldn't prestige a second time. That was literally it. You prestige, you go back to the beginning, then you go all the way up to the top, and then you're done. When I got to the second prestige level and I was at the very top, unlocked everything, had nothing to do, other people would run around with like an RPG. I'd run around with a 9mm pistol. And I'd just have pistol matches with people. People would be like shooting sniper rifles at me and machine guns at me, and I'd just be running around with a 9mm going plop, 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 killing people because it's just like, this gun still works. Even at the end of the game, this gun still works. Because it's a gun, not a flippin' water pistol. Anyway, sorry. I got away from the story there. Anyway. Go over there. Alright, it certainly doesn't look like Des Moines. Nor like Venus. Oscar found what he was looking for. An automatic laundry service. No, we were already there. There it is. But the chocolate's under his arm. The trip back was without incident except for one thing. Matt had not thought to specify a pressure container for the candy. Before Tex could strap down, the box had bulged. By the time they reached the Randolph, the front and left side of his spacesuit was covered with a bubbly, sticky mess, compounded of cherry juice, sugar syrup, and brown stains of chocolate as the semi-liquid confection boiled and expanded in the vacuum. He would have thrown the package away had not the ulster strapped next to him in the rack reminded him of the severe penalties for jettisoning anything in a traffic light. The cadet in charge of the hangar pocket of the Randolph looked Tex over in disgust. "Why didn't you pack it inside your suit?" I just didn't think of it, sir." The next time you will, no doubt. Go on inside and place yourself on report for gross untidiness in uniform. And clean up that suit." "Aye, sir." Pete was in their suit when they got... Sweet. There's an E at the end. Damn it! Pete was in their suite when they got back. He came out of his cubicle. "Have fun? Gee, I wish I hadn't had the duty." "You didn't miss much," said Oscar. Tex looked from one to the other. "Gee, fellows, I'm sorry I ruined your liberty." "Forget it," said Oscar. "Terra Station will still be there next month." "That's right," agreed Matt. "But see here, Tex. Tell us the truth. That was the first drink you ever had, wasn't it?" Tex looked shamefaced. "Yes, my folks are all in temperance, except my Uncle Bodie." "Never mind your Uncle Bodie. If I catch you taking another, I'll beat you to death with a bottle." "Oh, shucks, Matt." Oscar looked at Matt quizzically. "Easy on that holier-than-thou stuff, kid. Maybe it could happen to you." "Maybe it could. Maybe someday I'll get you to chaperone me and find out what happens, but not in public. It's a date." "Say," demanded Pete, "what goes on here? What's it all about?" "It's about your mother, Pete. I did her. I did her good and hard. She liked it. She came back for seconds." Somehow my entire My Documents folder got deleted. I'm assuming that Windows 10 doesn't like what you're doing, Brute. Windows 10 found out that you're a coder of some kind, that you somehow work with code and it feels threatened, so it deleted all of your code snippets. Alright guys, so we're going to take a break for today. I know I only read one chapter, but again, I'm just not in it right now. I don't know why. Probably because I'm just tired. I don't know what it is. I can read. You guys know I can read. I read like the Dickens. Or is that right, like the Dickens? Wait, if you read the Dickens like the Dickens, man, that's just too much dicks. Anyway. I'm just not in it today, I think. So we're going to go ahead and take a break from reading. And since we're already here, let's clean. You know? Anyone feel like cleaning? I feel like cleaning. Y'all feel like cleaning? Say yes, KB, we feel like cleaning. Good. Cleaning time. Timmy! Here, take your ass. Billy! Tommy. And Bobby in a sleeping bag. He never felt a thing. Here you go, guys. Have some green liquid goop stuff. There you go. There you go. Burn some candles. Oops. Burn some candles. There you go. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Well, hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. They're warm now. The audience has outlived its usefulness. Possibly, a little bit, maybe. But yeah, well, it's not the book either. I really love the book. I honestly feel like I may have to skip Tales until I get glasses. I may have to skip Tales from the Dark until I get glasses, because I hate when they do this in mods. I hate when they do this in modded levels. The game is not equipped to have stuff inside other stuff. You're barely able to put stuff inside the big green bins, and yet they still stick stuff inside these containers like they're supposed to be there. Nope. See what happens when you do that? Where the frack did my cup go? Oh dear God. Oh, there it is. Anyway, yeah, there's... No, you don't. You don't. You don't. You don't. You don't. You know? You don't. Quick, check his wallet. Anyway, so yeah, I honestly think it's a concentration thing. It's either my glasses, or it's work, or it's about 1,000 other things. There's like a million reasons probably why I'm not reading properly, but you know, I'm doing my besties for you guys, and we'll read a chapter here and there. And there are days, you know, the last couple of weeks before I started flipping out, it was actually really good. I was reading like Insanity. They had like a ton of story going on. Read almost half a damn book at one point. So for whatever more recent wise, not doing it, you know. I think we should clean up some of this blood while we're here. I usually don't, but the game is acting really laggy for some reason. I don't know why. Well, this is a modded level, and modders have this problem. And I know you guys know this because you're all smart people and you've played with mods before. Modders have this problem where they don't understand efficiency. And so the reason why some levels in some games are sparse is because, you know, efficiency. You got to make sure that you have enough CPU power for everything, not just the one really cool thing you want to put on the screen. Modders forget that, and they're like, I want to put that really cool thing on the screen, and so they fill up the level full of trash or garbage or whatever, and everything gets super duper laggy because of it, because people aren't, you know, modders aren't devs per se. They're after devs. They dev after everyone else has dev'd, you know? Am I making any sense? I guess my point remains that modders make lag is what they do. They overpopulate. Like, there's a bunch of gun turrets and animated stuff outside the station that you don't even interact with, but they're fully rendered 3D in the scene all the time when you're looking at them. Even though you don't actually ever interact with them, they're out there being out there. And that's what modders do. They add pointless stuff to the game without doing like movie magic, I guess you could call it, where you put stuff in but it's not really in. So like if we look out one of these windows, where the hell is a window? Okay, so if we look out all these windows, look at all that stuff out there. Look at all the crates out there and the snow and the animated gun turrets and that's all stuff that you should fake into a game, not place into a game. And yet they've put them in the game. So when you look out here, you see all this stuff that's actually rendered out there on the edge of the map, and that you don't even interact with it or touch it or anything, but it's out there. So you don't really want to, you know, modders don't know how to like not, you know, because they're like, I want this really cool stuff on the map, and you're like, this is a really cool map, but it's heavy on your machine. That's just the way it goes. Hope that doesn't bite me in the ass later. But you know, but I appreciate modders. They've made some games, some games that I've played, they've made much better. Much better. And I guess that's because of the same reason that sometimes they make the game much worse, and that's because they don't think about maximum abilities for things. They're just like, hey, I want a bajillion trees in here at 4K resolution, and they're like, okay, and then they put in a billion trees at 4K resolution. You're like, wow, my CPU caught fire, and they're like, yeah, but weren't they cool when they're on there? It's like, yeah, the 3 frames of it I saw were really awesome. You know? Get in there, Tim. Fine, you come with me. It was effing microshiz. They now want you to use OneDrive instead of local storage, and guess what? If you have more in your My Documents than what you can fit in OneDrive, it just deletes and resets evidently. Oh my God! Why did anyone? Okay, I'm not even. I am still on Windows 7, also known as the last good Windows, and I know that's like saying the least smelliest piece of crap, but you know what? At least the least smelliest piece of crap can be you can stand it, you know? I don't know. Every time people talk about Windows 10, it's just like it's deleting my stuff. It's changing my settings. I change the settings and it changes them back. I tell it not to change them back and it changes the settings that the setting not to change them back. Windows is literally programmed to ignore everything you want. If you tell it to say, hey, don't change my settings ever again, there's a setting that's hidden that tells that setting to change back to allow Windows to actively change your settings. Okay, once they have programmed something that deep into the screw you pile, delete it and start over. Go back to Windows 98 if you have to, for the love of God. You know, if you need a Windows 10 machine, have it be a flippin', you know, an entirely separate box, right? You have a Windows 10 machine where there's nothing on it that's important. Nothing on it that is important. Not even video games. Just porn and viruses. Nothing else. And maybe work stuff if you have a job, I guess. And then for your actual work, use Linux or Mac or Windows something before Microsoft decided they didn't know better than you did, like DOS. I don't understand why people thought, and this is, and I'm not blaming you guys, because a lot of you guys got feng shui, Fuscout, what's the word I'm looking for? Tricked. You guys weren't asked for Windows, like, you know, do you want, well, okay, a lot of people were. They're like, hey man, we're giving away Windows 10 for free. You know what? That was the thing that kind of threw me. Everyone's like, hey, they're giving away Windows 10 for free, and I'm like, why would Microsoft, a company who wants to get money out of every damn thing they possibly can, give away their latest operating system for free? That should have been a red flag for everybody, right? That should have been like a huge red flag for every person on the planet to say, wait a minute. A company who is trying to sue everybody for everything and is known for being complete douchebags and either stealing, lying, or cheating their way into money is giving away something that they should be selling for thousands of dollars for free. And no one went, huh, that's odd. They all went, hooray! Free stuff! And I'm like, nope. Like, the minute they announced you could get it for free, I was like, I'm done. Nope, not touching it. Don't care. Windows 10, up yours. You want to give it to me? I ain't taking it. And then Microsoft is like, oh, you don't want Windows 10? Well, we don't care. We're going to force you to download it. And then all the horror stories of people right in the middle of doing stuff. People were in the middle of working. They were doing their job. They're downloading stuff. They're compiling stuff. They're rendering stuff. They're air traffic controlling stuff. And Windows is like, please stand by while I update, because up yours, suckers. And all those horror stories, and people were still like, but it's free. And you're just like, oh my god, what has happened to you people? And because of all that, I'm just like, nope. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean up some of this blood. There's too much. And I was just like, I'm nope. Just so much nope with that. And I don't know what it is, why people were like okay with this, and why they just didn't. I guess in the end, people were like, well, it's installed. I can't really uninstall it, or maybe it's because they had a stolen version of Windows, like Windows 7 was stolen, like it was a cracked version, and they lost their crack or something, and they couldn't get it back, and so they're like, well, I guess I'm stuck with Windows 10 forever now. You're like, nope, thank you. Or like a couple of people came out with, hey, here's a way to fix Windows 10 to where it doesn't screw you anymore. And then Microsoft released patches that turned all those options off. That should have told you something when people found a way around Windows 10 stuff, and then Microsoft came through and fixed it. When a company says, hey, we fixed that problem you were having, and that problem you were having was you were in more control than they thought you needed, that's not a problem. At least not with you or your program. That is a problem with the company you bought the program from. Because being in control of your hardware and software is not a problem. Apparently, though, to Microsoft it is. So all those things should have been red flags. They should have been screaming red flags at you saying, hey, guys, you know what? This is probably not a good idea. But instead, people ran to the slaughter going, please, take me. I want to go to Rapture too. And then the end came, and everyone was all surprised that they got completely boned. And you're like, I'm not. I knew it was coming. I know a lot of people are like, but DirectX 11, and I'm like, that's the selling point. Or DirectX 12, and I'm like, that's the selling point. But please remember something about DirectX 12. No games are using it yet. But But people want to be on that bleeding edge. They're like, DirectX 12 has support for DirectX 12, and Windows 7 won't have support, or Windows 8, or Windows Vista, or Windows whatever the frack we're using today won't have support for it. And it's just like, and it's like by the time enough games come out with DirectX 12 support, guess what will have been released? Windows 11X or whatever. Because that's how it works. I seem to have spilled. But hey, man, you want to be on that bleeding edge? Guess you get what you get. Excuse me. Not saying that BrewCloud messed up or anything, because he didn't. He has to have Windows 10 because of his job. You can say his employer screwed up. Alright, so it's going to get more difficult to take all this stuff back to the thing, because we have to put bodies parts in here. But yeah, the fact that Microsoft just goes through and doesn't even warn you. It's just like, it's not even like, hey man, we're going to delete your stuff. It's literally, hey, where's my stuff? And then you have to go online, and some other guy who found out the hard way tells you, hey, yeah, Windows deletes all your stuff if it's having a bad day. You know, Windows is an angry ex-girlfriend. She saw some text on your Skype that she thought were you cheating on another operating system, so she deleted your documents folder. You know. Yep. Aha! Bloody bucket! Ah, human hand. Oop. No, 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 no! Come back, I love you. There you go. Oop. Well, so much for Arduino about getting updated. I don't feel like trying to rebuild the files in my file recovery software. Is only seeing things in my Steam directory and nothing else. Yeah. Never updating to Windows 10. Or Windows anything else. I think Windows 7 is going to be it. And if enough games are on Windows 10 that are no longer available for Windows 7, I'll just switch to Linux. And I'll only play games that come out on Linux, which means I'll be an indie player, because only indie games come out on Linux. And I'll have to learn how to use Linux and stream on Linux and do Linuxy things in Linux. And that could be Elite Hacksaws. And my overlay doesn't have to be a fake Elite Hacksaws overlay. It can be actual stuff. I can just show you guys my desktop and be like, wow, what's this cool overlay? And you're like, it's my desktop. And you hear all the Windows users go, whoa. And then Jinx will have one less thing to get on my case about. Well, that'd be weird. Okay, I'm gonna take this back. You know, we don't have any music. Would you guys like music? I can add some music. Are you guys enjoying just me talking and the sound of squishy bodies? What am I saying? We all watch porn. We love the sound of squishy bodies. Only indie games like the Total War series, like Shadows of Mordor? Well, you know what I mean. More indie games are released on Linux and work on Linux and are constantly updated on Linux from indie developers because they are the ones who use those programs than are by AAA games, because AAA is run by Windows, on Windows, for Windows. They're coded on Windows computers. They're made for Xbox and PlayStation, so it's easier to code them on Windows because you can just move them over to the Xbox. Now, PlayStation not so much, but no dev really complains about that anymore. They used to a lot. Oh man, there's just so much. There's so much blood, so much blood. The buckets of it, the buckets and buckets and buckets of blood. We're gonna keep cleaning up blood because that's what's slowing this. Well, one of the things that's slowing us down. I usually like to leave the blood on the floor for as long as possible, but the guy who made this put in so many layers of blood that it's really, really, really difficult right now. So I have to clean up as much blood as possible because there's so much blood I'm barely getting through even one pile of it before my mop is full. So these shaders are really kicking my CPU's ass or GPU's ass. Because the more shaders you have to render, more CPU cycles CPU, GPU cycles it takes. I guess it used to be all GPU, but now they have CPU sharing and GPU sharing and cross-referencing. So honestly, I don't know anymore what runs what. I just know that, you know, graphics needs memory and your mom needs the D. So apart from that, Apart from that, where's that, you know? System restore? System restore restores system files. It's not going to restore your database files. I wouldn't trust. I would not trust Windows. I don't even trust Windows updates. But what's funny, here's the funny thing, is I think Microsoft has already stopped updating Windows 7. I don't know if they've actually announced it, but usually after a few days or weeks go by, like even Windows 7 has a bunch of updates for it. Like, you know, it's like, hey, there are updates for your computer, and so I have to keep an eye on it, right? That'd be like, are there updates for my computer? Well, the other day is like, hey, there are updates for your computer, and I looked, and there weren't any new security updates or anything. There was just malicious software detection tool updates, and a couple of Silverlight updates, and that's it. And I'm just like, hey, what happened to all those updates for Windows 7? So I think Microsoft has actually stopped updating Windows 7 now, so hooray for Viri, whatever. You missed the spot. Really? Where? Many AAA as well as indie devs are doing the Vulkan instead of the DX12 exactly because it runs on Windows, Linux, Xbox, PS4, and even Nintendo Switch. Only one left is Mac because Apple had to do their own thing. Well, yeah, Apple always has to do its own thing. That's how you stay ahead of the market, is you make sure the market only does what you want. Oh, thank God, I finally got to sneeze. I don't know if it'll last, but I finally got to sneeze. Those people at work have been sick. I actually do pretty well not getting sick, but I do get sneezes. I know, it's like, if that's not sick, then what is sick, KB? Well, in this case, I just said the sneezes. It's not uncommon for me to have to sneeze. Especially when I haven't had my coffee. You know, I'm not angry at 7. I sound like I'm angry at 7. And I say that because if 7's paying attention or watching or on break, she'll be like, I'm sorry! It's like, it's not your fault, dude. Crap happens. If I need coffee that much, I can delve into my funds and get me a cup of coffee. Holy God, it's $5. I just don't want to spend that money. The main reason why is because I ended up really super hungry one day last week, and I really needed food. I mean, really needed food, and I had no money in my account. I have 53 cents in my actual bank account. That is it, literally 53 cents in my bank account. But I had like $380 on my BioLife card, on my donation card. And so I had money, and I'm sitting there looking at it. Like my gas tank's down to like it's starting to go under a quarter of a tank. But I get paid on Monday, so that'll be fine. But I was like, I was really hungry, and I'm like, but I'm at $380. Like literally, I was like $380 flat with like a couple of cents on the side. So I was like, I'm at $380. I don't want to spend that. And I got like super mega insanely hungry and snappy, and I was like, okay, I have to eat. So I went out to McDonald's and I got $2 worth of food and a couple of chicken burgers, chickens, and I went down, you know, to $10, or went down to like 378 or 77 something. And but you know, and now I've been calculating based off of that, and I spent a little bit of money. Now I'm down to like $2 extra above the 10, so I'm like $422 right now. Oops. Ew. And so because of that, I don't want to spend any of my money to go get sugar, because then I'll be back down below, and I'm just like, no, I need no body parts. Give me. Yes, nailed it. Get in the bucket. Get in the bucket. Get in the bucket. There you go. Anyway. Oh, I hate you so much, game. Woohoo! Nailed it twice. All right. Okay. That was close. Oops. Well. There you go. Alright. Anyway, so I just didn't really, I don't want to spend the money because I'm trying to save up for my glasses. And every time you spend money, you know, and this is a problem that everybody has, and you don't tell me that we don't, because you'll be a liar if you don't. Every time you spend money, every time you break your piggy bank even a little bit, you have an easier time doing it again, you know? Like, you spend $2 here for food, and then you're like, well, I need gas, and then you spend 30 bucks on gas, and then you're like, well, I spent 30 bucks on gas. I guess I could buy that video game I really want. And then you spend, you know, 20 bucks on a video game. You're like, well, now I don't have. I mean, now it's going to take a while to save up all the money I want in order to get that big thing I was saving up for. So I might as well buy all the other little things that I want. And then suddenly you have no money in your pocket, and then you're like, damn it, why don't I ever have any money? And it's just like, I wonder why you have no money. What could possibly have happened? I have no idea. Do you hear the sarcasm? Is it thick enough? And so if I really wanted a cup of coffee, I could spend $5 on a cup of coffee. But I don't want a cup of coffee that badly. At the same time as I could spend like $2 or $3 on a thing of sugar, except I don't have the time to go to the store and get the sugar and then come back and make the coffee and drink it. So, you know what? And so if I'm that desperate, there are options. I'm just not that desperate. I mean, I'll sleep with your mother, but I am not spending my hard-earned money on coffee. Nah, bro, it sounds legit. Yeah. Well, I work with someone who I recently found out doesn't pay rent. Their father pays their rent. And this now rent is like my biggest bill. Seven and I pay a grand in rent. Is that really? Oh Jesus! Seven and I pay a grand in rent every month, $1,000 in rent, and Seven pays the rent. I pay all the other bills, and I pay about $1,000 in other bills, but they're mixed bills, so you know, it's up to $1,000. But it's not one bill that's a grand, right? And so we pay a lot of money in rent. So rent around here is really expensive. We have one of the highest costs of livings in the country. We do have the highest cost of living in our state. So rent is like huge around here. Well, this person who I work with, who is a supervisor and gets paid as a supervisor gets paid, does not pay rent. Their father pays their rent. They own 2 dogs and a car. And that's it, as far as I know. And I think they have a cell phone bill. But honestly, like, if you pay $1,000 a month in other bills, but not rent, then, you know, if you're making like $1,500, $1,600 a month, which is about how much I would assume they make, because that's about how much I make, but then you're doing okay, right? You know, you should have like $500 or $600 left over per month-ish. I mean, if I didn't have to pay rent and I only had to pay all my other bills, and that includes student loans, a really, really expensive phone bill, because I have to put internet on it now, and, you know, electricity and Comcast and all that jazz, all those bills all together, and that's including Seven's car payment, because I pay Seven's car payment. It's like $240 a month. So assuming that they pay everything except their rent, which I don't think they do, but anyway, assuming they pay everything except their rent, they should be only paying out about $1,000. Now, if they make about as much as I do per month, provided they work their entire shift, which they're a supervisor, so they work more their shift than I do, that means they should be having about $600 left over per month to do with as they please. Every time they get paid, 1 day passes, and they're like, I'm out of money. I have no money. I need to get paid more. I never get paid enough money. I'm out. I'm poor again. And you're like, where the crap is all your money going? You don't pay rent. $1,000 in rent? Ouch. Sounds like New Jersey. I have a yes from 7. What is this? Yes. Yes is. Yes. What time is it? 11:25. Yes. Oh, cute. Okay. I don't begrudge people not having to pay rent. I wish I could, but it really irritates me when they don't got it. God, if you can go out or do extra stuff. Well, yeah, but that's my thing. Is like I am a money saver. I save money like crazy. Like I save money like crazy. Like my 100% of my check goes into savings. If it doesn't go towards a bill, it goes into savings. That's where my check goes. That's where all my checks go. Well, this is a person who is at work, and they're always constantly, they are constantly saying things like, I need to get paid more money. I need a raise. I need more money. I need a raise. And you're like, you don't pay rent. And then they're also doing things like we have a person in our job who is constantly going to the casino, and she wins a bunch of money at the casino all the time. She's constantly winning money at least she says she is. She's basically making more at the casino than she's losing in accordance to her, and she like buys her kids used cars. She has, you know, she blows money like crazy. So she's rolling, not super rolling in it. She comes to work every day, but she's got cash. She's comfortable at least, I guess, because she just throws money at all over the place. And this person who doesn't pay rent, the supervisor who doesn't pay rent, is constantly asking this woman to pay for her stuff. Will you buy me food? Will you buy me a TV? Will you put me on your cell phone plan so I can have unlimited data without having to pay for it? And these are actual questions that she asks. It's just like, you are a damn leech. Drives me absolutely spare. But, yeah. So, you know, there's money and then there's idiots. F that. Exactly. So yeah, this is a person who's constantly just like trying to mooch off everybody and then complaining that they don't make enough money. It's like, where does your money go? And I'm pretty certain that her money goes to weed and booze is where the money goes. I'm pretty certain that that she buys at least like a pound of weed a week or a month, and then she goes partying every weekend. So I'm pretty certain it just goes to weed and booze. So she's spending like $600 a month on, within like a day, on weed and booze. So we pay $10.50 a month for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot home. Seven and I pay $10.75 per month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. But it is in the middle of town. Not Seattle, mind you. Those ones run anywhere between... If you were to live down in Seattle in like a studio apartment, it'd be like $2,000 for a studio. You're looking at like $5,000 for anything bigger than that. Anyway. And the reason why we have such a high cost of living is because Washington is the place where all gaming goes. We have Nintendo America here, we have Microsoft here, we have Valve Corporation here, we have Amazon's headquarters here, all the big name companies that you know and love. Google is here, I think. I'm pretty certain it's located in Washington too, but I can't guarantee that. I never bothered to look it up. But basically, all the big name companies are here. So when people say, hey man, you know, where do you work? And people are like, Amazon, they're like, hey, that's great. Your rent just went up by $500. Because they assume that if you work for those companies, you are a programmer or a CEO or something high-end that gets paid bank. They forget, of course, that there are people who work there who actually do like call center crap and game testing crap, and they're not like the high-end breadwinners. Or the fact that Microsoft does contracting. Microsoft is one of the most horrible contractors I've ever heard of. I have talked to contractors who work for Microsoft, and Microsoft has this horrible bait and switch technique. Not really bait and switch. I don't know what you'd call it. It's sort of, they sort of hang you is what they do. Because what they do is they have a non-compete clause, but their non-compete clause is for 1 year after you finish your work. So if you go into Microsoft, if you're working at Microsoft as a programmer, any kind of programmer, right? And you're working there, if your contract's for 3 months and you finish a 3-month contract at Microsoft, their non-compete clause lasts 1 year. You're not allowed to program anything for any other company for a year after you're done working for them. Now, if they pull up another contract for you within that year, you can go back and work for Microsoft again. And I think that's why they do it. Because they'll have a project, they'll need programmers, and they'll be like, okay, you're a programmer, you program for us, and then you work for them, and then they turn around and say, well, you can't work for anybody else for a year, so if we need you, you'll be available. And it's just like, dude, I need to pay my rent, and people know I work for you. That means my rent is huge. But yeah, like if you get steady contract work at Microsoft, you're okay. But if you're one of those one-off people where they hire you for one project and then tell you to piss off, you're pretty much screwed as a programmer for a year. Because Microsoft has that damn non-complete clause that says you can't do anything that's like your current job anywhere else. And it's not like 7 has a non-compete clause, but it's for clinical phlebotomy. Or not clinical phlebotomy, it's for plasmapheresis specifically. Like, she can be a phlebotomist, she can draw people's blood, but she can't work for another company that does plasmapheresis. And that's pretty general. Microsoft isn't like that when it comes to its people. They literally say, the thing you're currently doing for us, no matter what it entails, you can't do for anybody else, ever, for a year. And it's just like, dude, that's like my only skill set. That's all I can do. What do I do if I can't work for you? And they're like, McDonald's is hiring. You only have Microsoft HQ there, Kiwi. Part of their Xbox division is here in Mesa, Arizona. Yeah, but when people say, hey, where's Microsoft, they say Redmond. You know, Redmond or Renton. Is it Redmond or Renton? It's up there somewhere. I don't know. I lived in the state my entire damn life, and I can't remember where the hell anything is. I know where Seattle's at, and I know where I am, and that's all I really need. But anyway, when you ask people, it's like where it's located is Washington. You know, where's Microsoft? Washington. Where's Valve? Washington. Google? Washington. Where's Amazon? Washington. It's like Amazon has places all over the country. 90% of the programming done at Amazon is done in Asia. Is done in China. Most of the programmers are Chinese. And I don't know why that is. That's just the way they decided to do it. And I know that because for the few times I was working there, whenever somebody had a programming issue, they'd be like, put a ticket in because Chang doesn't wake up for another 6 hours. Literal conversation I had with somebody. You know, and there's so many Asians, and what's really crappy is the Americans, they work with Asians all the time, and the Americans are so damn thick-ass stupid that we can't remember their names, so we just give them American names. His name will be Quan, but they won't call him Quan, they'll call him Tim. It's like, why do they call you Tim? It's like, it's easier than them trying to remember my actual name. I'm like, dude, what? No. So yeah, I mean, there are other places and even other countries where they have outposts and other divisions and whatnot, but Washington charges what it charges for everything because they know that if you work in or around Seattle or Redmond or any of those places, you're working for big name companies. To be fair, that happens here. I mean, it happens, and they don't take offense. There are some people at my job. I work at a flippin' know-nothing, built in your garage, still existing in your garage, would be living in your mother's basement if it was cheaper, alarm center, where everybody we talk to is within the local vicinity, maybe a little bit in the Midwest and tiny bit on the East Coast, but 98% of our clients are right here in the state. And I still pick up alarms where people are like, his name's like Billy Bob something, and his nickname will be Teddy. And like he wants to be called by his nickname. Or we'll have a guy who calls in who's named some, Indian name I can't really think of right now. And they'll be like, just call me Jim. It's like, yeah, you know what? Okay. If you're good for it, I'm good for it too. But anyway. Point being is that they're all good people. I mean, we had a Chinese developer show up. It was actually his first trip to the headquarters, and he came in and did a tour and said hi to everybody. Didn't speak very much English, which is fine. But yeah, whenever we had a programming problem, it was just all like, yeah, send it to Tim. He'll wake up in 6 hours, and you're like, what? Okay, do we have people here who can do this? It's like, no, we don't pay people here for that. Like, okay. Whatever you say there, dude. Nailed it! Okay, if I don't do this right, this is gonna tip over. Let's just put it right. Yeah. Oh, no. Good bucket. Good bucket. Touch it. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, what's really funny is I've worked for a few companies. I never worked for Microsoft, and I've not worked for Google. But I did work for Amazon for a while. I say for a while, and you guys are like, what happened, KB? I was a contract worker. I did scut work. One of my jobs was literally AI checking. I didn't even realize what it was. They didn't tell me what I was doing until I'd finished the job. And then they took my algorithm, and yes, I programmed for Amazon. That's probably why their webpage breaks. Actually, I told you guys a story about how I broke Amazon for a day, right? I don't know if there's any new people in the audience who'd like to hear it, or anybody who'd like to rehear the story about how I broke Amazon for a day. But yeah, this guy right here broke Amazon for 24 hours. Scut work? Yeah, hell yeah, scut work. Scut work, like people calling up and saying things like, hey, I ordered X and got Y, and it was my job to figure out why Y was shipped instead of X. That was my first ever job at Amazon. That's boo handling, if you guys don't know what a boo number is. If you guys ever look at an Amazon URL, it goes amazon.com/dp/B00 and then a string of numbers. That's called a boo. It's a boo number. It's an item identification number. It's how Amazon tracks its inventory. And every item in Amazon warehouse is labeled, stickered with a boo number, B00. And sometimes those stickers are wrong. Sometimes people sticker the wrong thing with the wrong thing. But everything is run... Now, Lady G knows this because she worked in the warehouse. Everything is run off those boo numbers. So basically, when you need to pick something, you pick it, you scan the boo number, then you ship it out. And some of those things are in boxes where you can't tell what they are. All you can do is assume that the boo number is right. And some of those things are labeled by Fulfillment by Amazon. And Fulfillment by Amazon is a person sitting at home selling you stuff from their garage. That's what FBA is. If you guys have ever bought something from someone where it says this is fulfilled by Amazon, you're not buying it from Amazon. You're buying it from some third-party dude who's using Amazon as his shipping and storage place. Well, what my job was is during Christmas time, a couple of years ago, my job was to, this is not how I broke Amazon, by the way. That was my third iteration, or second iteration at Amazon that I broke it. But my first one, my job was to go through, and when people would call, and I wasn't taking the calls. The call center was taking the calls. I've never worked in their call center, but the call center was taking the calls. And they'd create tickets, and the tickets would say, person got X, but ordered Y. And it was my job to figure out why that was. And what I would do is I would communicate with the people at the warehouse and be like, hey, dudes, I need you to pull this and tell me what it is. And they'll pull it and be like, it's this. And I'll be like, yeah, that's wrong. Relabel everything. And they'd be like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's wrong. Relabel it, or we're going to be shipping out this crap to people who don't want it. Ours are SPO numbers? Oh, your SPO numbers, okay. Example, Amazon link. Yeah, exactly. So that was my job, was to tell the people in the warehouse that they did their job wrong and to relabel things. Not that they did their job wrong, it was just my job to tell them they had to relabel stuff. And then the other half of my job is what they would do is they would send in mislabels, the stuff that they would find. They would send in stuff and they'd be like, and defective products, people would send in, they'd be like, our biggest problem was we had a helicopter. There was, you know, those remote control helicopters, RC helicopters. There were a set of them that was sold by an FBA vendor, because I work strictly FBA. Internal Amazon stuff was not handled by us. Internal Amazon products that exploded were handled by a very important, very separate, very full-time department that made absolutely sure that Amazon could not be sued by exploding anything. But for us, we didn't have to worry about, you know, people getting sued, you know, FBA vendors getting sued. So, you know, idiots from a contract center could handle it just fine. But what it was is people in the thing would be like, hey man, I got a book here and this is the title, but the boo on it says that it's this. Find the right book, or find the right boo is what we had to do. It's like, here's the book, here's the title, here's the ISBN, find me the right number so I can relabel this. And so that was our other job, was to do that. So that was my job. That was my first job at Amazon. I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it, but unfortunately I was not hired on permanently for that position, which made me sad. I remember those days, KB, then I changed careers completely. But if you guys would like to hear the day I broke Amazon. Yeah, I broke Amazon for a day. You guys wouldn't have noticed. No one except vendors. I broke it for vendors. I didn't break it for people. I don't remember where I was going. I need a squish, buck, water, thing. One of these doohickeys. Anyway, so what happened is I got hired on, and again, I did not know, and this is my second iteration at Amazon. I had 3 total. This is my second one at Amazon. What it was is I had been contracted to come in with one other guy. The other guy did no work. But to his credit, he was like 19 years old. Back then, I was like 28, 29. So, I mean, you know, not super old. But he was like 19 years old, and to his credit, he literally told me to my face, day one, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I told him, it's like, okay, just sit back and chill. You know, whatever. He was cool about it. I mean, he told me, he's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I said, it's cool. If you're honest, that's fine. I got this. And it was me and him in an office with 2 other people. The 2 other people did not work with us. They were from a completely different department, but that's how Amazon works. Literally, your office could change any moment. Someone will come in, set down a desk, plug in a phone. 10 minutes later, some dude will come in and be like, hi, I'm Jim. And Jim is now your new office buddy. 3 days later, Jim is gone, his desk is gone, the phone is gone, and you have your office back to yourself again, because Jim was on a temporary project that either fell through or got completed. That's how Amazon works. So I was never surprised when I was in an office with 6 people I never even said 2 words to. But we're in this office, and I'm in there for a month doing this thing. Now, what I had to do is, if you guys have ever been on the Amazon website, I mean, like, raise your hand if you've ever been to Amazon. I know that's... But anyway, I always say that. Have you ever been on Amazon? How do you start a conversation like that? Hi, do you breathe? Do your eyes still work? You know, like, it's a stupid-ass question to ask, but it's the only way to really broach the subject. But if you've ever been on the Amazon website, on the left-hand side of the screen, actually any website, in this case it was just Amazon, but if you've ever been on any website, on the left-hand side of the screen they have those little radial buttons that you click. And the radial buttons that you click say things like, I want something that's in this price range. I want something made by this manufacturer. I want something that's this color. Those little radial buttons that you click that filter out your results. When it comes to fulfillment by Amazon, which is the only place I worked, FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, is always contracted out. Internal stuff is not. But when I did it, what it was is if fulfillment by Amazon is required, oh damn it, is required to do those things manually. And what I mean is when, oh okay, coolants. When somebody uploads an item to Amazon and they're like, I would like to sell these plushies, right? I'd like to sell these little dog plushies. They have to fill out a little form, and the little form has tags in it, and it says, what are the differences in these? Damn it, I did it again. What are the differences in these items? And it's like, this one's this color, this one's this big, this one's this size, this one's medium, large. Like, what sizes do they come in? Large, medium, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they have to fill this out. Now, it's not one of the ones where they have to build it themselves. They don't have to, like, fill it out and make sure it works. What they have to do is they just fill out this little form. And here's the part that I didn't know at the time. There's an internal parsing system whose name I cannot remember. It was some weird Xerxes style name. It's a computer. It's an algorithm. It's an AI. The damn thing is an AI algorithm whose design is to parse the information provided by the vendor to find out what these items are, how big they are, how many different sizes they come in, what colors they're available in, how much they are, how many in a pack, blah, 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 blah. That's why if you guys have ever seen the listings on Amazon, where you'll see like one will say zip ties pack of 50, right? That's all it'll say. And then you'll have one that says zip ties pack of 50 made by blah 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 blah, this big, this size, this long, this many inches, this between this many, this, and the title is like 400 miles long. The reason why is because the FBA guy the guy who's selling that particular pack of zip ties, and I'm just picking zip ties off the top of my head because reasons. That guy who's selling those zip ties didn't fill out the form properly. Because you're supposed to put that information in, but you're supposed to put it in a teeny tiny box underneath that doesn't get displayed on the website. You're also not supposed to put it in the description. You're supposed to put the title in the title, the description in the description, and then all that crap in a teeny tiny box at the bottom. And then an AI parses that information to make sure that it gets everything right. Well, Amazon did, some guy who hired me and this other idiot, it was a team of two, and then my boss who I never saw. Like literally, I saw him 3 times the entire time I worked there. The first day I worked, and then twice when I screwed up. And that was literally all I ever saw the dude. I was autonomous the rest of the time, which I felt kind of cool about. Anyway, point being is what that thing is designed to do is the AI is designed to read that little box of blurbs and then decide where things go, right? Well, what my job was, and again, I did not know this when I initially got hired. I didn't know this until the day they let me go. My job is to make sure that AI was working by manually doing what it was supposed to be doing and then checking the results against what was actually being put up on the webpage. Now, what I thought I was doing when I initially got hired on was I thought I was doing that job because they had me do the entire thing, step 1 to last step. I would go in, I would pull out a database selection from their SQL database. I'd say, give me all the items in this category, at all, every item in this category, and then I'd run through the sequence, and I used Excel on a 10-year-old laptop. It was a Dell laptop from the tech room. I'm like, hey dudes, it came down from a laptop, and they're like, here you go, and they hand me this laptop, and I'm like, great, thanks, okay. And so I'm using Excel because it was the only thing I could think of that would do it, because, you know, I needed the spreadsheets. So I'm like, okay, I got this. So I went, just so you know, I had to relearn Excel for this job twice. Well, 2 different jobs at Amazon, but I had to relearn Excel twice. So I start pulling database, the database, and what my job was to do is I'm supposed to pull this database, parse the data, and then update the web page so that the data was properly put in its proper places, And my job was literally to make sure that the computer, which was already doing that, was doing it properly. And so I'm doing this, and I'm doing it daily, every day I go in, and my parsing system, because of the database sizes, would take like an hour of my day. So literally I would pull the data, put it in the thing, check for what I wanted, and then I'd say, hey, parse the data. And when I parsed the data, the laptop was so old, and using, I'm going to turn off the book title, by the way, I forgot it was still up there. And using this ancient old laptop, using Excel spreadsheet equations that I wrote, so you guys know exactly how well that went, it would take like an hour. As a matter of fact, I had an interview for another job, That's also how I found out I broke Amazon, by the way, is I had an interview for another job at Amazon, because while I was working there, they're like, while you're working there, try to get hired on, because if you're already working there, they'll hire you on. I'm like, hey, great. They didn't. But, but I'm like, hey, great. And so I had an interview with another job. I actually took my laptop down with me, and they're like, what's that for? I said, I'm running an algorithm I can't leave on my desk. And they're like, oh, okay. Because, you know, no one really cares. People would bring work in from another... They'd be working like doing 3 different things, and they bring in a laptop and a bunch of other crap. So it's just like, they didn't really care, but I just had this laptop sitting there like... But anyway, point being, is that's what I do. That was my job. And so I'd run this algorithm for an hour, then I'd tell it to upload the data. Now, in a weird, non-KB-esque thing, and I guess it's because I wasn't working with my own database, I actually made backups. I did. I had daily backups every time I pulled the database down. And I think it wasn't really on purpose. What it was is because I had to run the algorithm several times and then make sure that the data that it was presenting was correct. When I ran the data, I think what ended up happening was because I'd have to download the data from the database, run the algorithm in Excel, check it to see if it did it right, and then recode it if it didn't. That was my job. So I kind of got into that habit of keeping the original download. And because I got into the habit of keeping the original download, I had a backup. So, now to the actual core of the story, since you guys know what the hell I was talking about. Oh my god, you made backups? Yeah, I know, right? So that was a true AI? Well, I don't know if it was a true AI, but it did its job. And I know that because they told me it did its job. And I guess you could say I basically programmed myself out of a job. First time and last time I'll be able to say that, by the way, is I programmed myself out of a job. I made a program that was so efficient they didn't need me anymore, is what happened. But the way I broke Amazon was thus. I was told to work on cell phones one day. My boss came in. So I'd seen him a couple more times, I guess, than 3 times, maybe 3. I mean, I remember his face, but I saw him like 5 or 6 times. Honestly, I don't think the guy could remember me if I walked up to him at a party. I can barely remember him. I just remember pretty certain he had a crew cut. And he had kind of a triangular face. Yeah, I don't even remember what the hell he looked like. Anyway, point being is I was told to work on cell phones. Guy comes in, he says, okay, today I need you to work on cell phones. We're going to be doing cell phones to check today. I said, okay, we'll work on cell phones. So I download the cell phone database. I drop it into my Excel spreadsheet. I run it. It takes like 2 hours. I mean, it took forever. That particular database was huge. And then I got it, checked it, made sure everything, you know, I did a sample check. Everything looked fine. And I updated the database and I went about my merry way. Well, that day, I had a interview for another position. I had an interview for another position, so I go downstairs, and I'm talking to, and I'm running another database, by the way, and I'm talking to a bunch of people, and they're like, yeah, we're having trouble with the website today, because like, oh my god, everything is falling apart. Everything is falling apart. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry, I got that out of order. Let me go ahead and go back a step. It's been a while. Give me a break. I haven't told the story in a little bit. So I ran the database, I uploaded it, and then suddenly everything started breaking. My boss comes to me, and he says, hey, you know that cell phone thing you did? I said, yeah, I know the cell phone thing you did. I did. He goes, can you fix it? And I said, what the hell do you mean? He said, we have vendors calling us saying they can't list cell phones anymore. And I'm like... And now the thing is he's panicking. Because I don't know what he was doing, but I think he was supposed to be monitoring what we were doing, and he wasn't. So when he got a call from his boss telling him that for some reason his crew somehow locked vendors out of selling cell phones, and the call center exploded because suddenly all these people selling cell phones couldn't sell cell phones anymore, he panicked, and he runs into my office. Oops. Yeah, that was predictable. Anyway, looks like the basket's done. He runs into my office, panicked, and he says, we can't list cell phones anymore. What'd you do? And I explained to him the situation. And I literally looked him right in the face and I said, I have the backup. I can reverse it. And he goes, no. We'll figure it out. And he runs out of the room. What the hell, dude? And so I'm like, okay, well, he's going to fix it. So, you know, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm sitting there and I'm going back and I'm doing my job. 24 hours later. Yes, 24 hours later. Dude comes into my office, looks me right in the face and goes, Hey, do you have a backup of the database? Yes. Do you think if we just uploaded your backup, it would fix the problem? Yes. Okay, do that. Okay. So I upload the backup, revert all the changes back to the original. Suddenly everyone can upload cell phones, and bam, fixed. And what it was is there was a thing. There was a rule. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Amazon, Amazon does not deprecate anything. Well, it does. It deprecates everything, but it doesn't delete anything. They deprecate without deletion, no matter how old it is. There are SQL databases in there that have been deprecated since 2002, since 1999. I found a deprecated database from like 1998, I think, in their SQL database. It literally says this database has been deprecated. Their internal information system is a Wikipedia article. What, I don't know what they call it. It's an UsWiki, or basically it's a Wikia, I guess. It's a wiki database that's updated by employees in a company that's mostly made up of temps and people who are constantly moving on to other companies. So there are databases in there that haven't been updated in years. There are databases that are deprecated, but one section of the deprecated file is still used as a base comparison for other sections, so it doesn't get deleted. So Amazon's SQL database is a horrendous mess of plug and play stuff that's not exactly plug and play. And so what ended up happening, the reason I broke, so nobody updates it. Yeah, really, nobody updates it. So really what it is Amazon's, what there was is inside the Amazon database there was a check mark. And it was a check mark from a rule back in the 90s, back when the FBI was really trying to curtail crime, and cell phones were like the new cutting edge, the bleeding edge of the way people were robbing your ass. And so to curtail crime, cell phone thefts and whatever else, and reselling stolen cell phones, there was a rule that said you cannot sell cell phones on third-party websites, meaning FBA vendors could not sell cell phones on Amazon. That rule was never removed. It was just never offered as a checkbox, meaning that when somebody went to list a cell phone, it was never offered as a you can't do this. It was left in there, but it was just turned off. I turned it back on because some of the cell phones had it turned on. I don't know why they still had it turned on, but my job was to make sure everything that was supposed to be on was on. And so I turned it back on for every vendor on Amazon. And what was hilarious is I think it lost me the job I had applied for. The reason why is because the next day, it was that same day when I updated the database and put everything back. I was actually doing it. I actually think I'd done it that morning. Anyway, point being is I think they had lost me the job I interviewed for because I went in there and I'm like, they're like, hey, how's it going? I said, it's going fine. I'm like, yeah, our day's pretty crap. And I said, what's up? And they said, yeah, yesterday somebody screwed up the database, and we had a bunch of FBA vendors who weren't able to sell their product, and I just kind of shook my head and said, you're looking at them. And they're like, yo, you did that? I said, yeah, that was me. And they're like, well, it's fixed. I said, yeah, that was me too. But it was just one of those things where I could have fixed it like 5